tractor beam out of commission, or this is going to be a real short trip. Okay, hit it!
Hey everyone, how's it going?
Good evening.
What's up, Jason? How you been?
I've been better, but I'm doing good.
Yeah, I woke you up.
A little late on a Monday evening, yeah.
Yeah. Usually I'm in bed by now.
I gotta be up at 5 a.m. I got a surgery in the morning.
5 a.m.
Yeah, I gotta be at, I don't put too much info out there, but yeah, I gotta be at Mass General by 7.
Oh, you shouldn't put it out there. Your fans will all be out there waiting to get pictures of you as you go in.
Yeah. The paparazzi.
Your paparazzi. So, what's up, everybody? How's it going? I went and I looked. I haven't done a show in over a month.
You have not?
I have not. It's been since August since I've done a show.
You've canceled about 6 shows in the last month, but we haven't done a show in the last month. No, and in fairness, I think for both of us, right, on a personal level, that I think a lot just hit at one time.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, I've actually wanted to do. In the morning, I wanted to do a show, but by the end of the night, I would back out, and I didn't feel like doing it. And that's not how I usually am. Usually, if I say let's do it, we're doing it. You know, group therapy. You know that has always been an issue for me to be on because I like to do things with my families on Friday and Saturday nights. You know, and I've mentioned that from day one that Friday night is just a bad night for me. So I missed a lot of group therapies. But now things are a little different though. Like I put this up as our topic, okay? Because right now this is what's going on with me and you also as well. You have, but personal things have gotten in the way of not only doing shows, but also of working on models. You know, you get it, and even talking with John a lot of times, he's always saying to me, Chris, you got to help me get my mojo back. Yeah, help me get my mojo back. You know, because people see the things that we make and they see, you know, things come out regularly, you know, but they don't see sometimes that it's, how do I say it? It's like sometimes it's a chore to get out into the workshop.
But yeah, it can be daunting. Yeah,
it can be for a lot of different reasons. You know, like we both have a strong passion for this hobby. You and I both, and John does as well, and Marvin and you know, all of us, we all have a very strong passion for this. And pretty much for the last 2 years now, you and I have been going balls out, no homo, but out going in this hobby. Like we have been making stuff and talking about stuff and doing shows and making relationships and it feels weird now to sort of not have that feeling to do what we love to do. I'm not going to speak for you, but for myself lately, and even like John and I have talked about, like commissions can sometimes take away your mojo as well, because you're making something to make money for, right? A commission is basically just to make money to feed the next project. Okay. And that can take away some of your passion as well, because you're not working on most of the time. Like, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of commissions that are passion driven, but most of the time a commission is a job that you're not passionate about, like something that you want to build really bad, like my scratch sandcrawler. Like I'm usually itching to get to that. But in order for me to work on that, sometimes I've got to make commissions to make money to put towards that. Because, I'm not rich. People look at my collection and they think I am, but I'm not. I'm not even close. I've been collecting a long time. And basically anything I want, I have to work for commission wise now, because I've gotten to a point where I don't have the things to sell that, like, I want to keep all the things that I have. Okay. Because before I was able to take things that I didn't particularly care about and sell them to get Regal Robot pieces or RS Prop Master pieces, or even like John not commissions, but pieces that I love from John and Lee and even Jason Eaton. I bought a piece from him too. Like those are the 3 model makers that I bought pieces from. Commissions can sometimes get in the way of your passion, but also life. Like people have jobs. I'm fortunate that I have a job where I'm home a lot, and in all honesty, I don't work a whole lot because of how my job works. I still get paid, but I don't actually. I work maybe twice a week. Okay. So I have time to put towards my hobby and time to put towards my passion or commissions or whatever the case may be. A lot of people work 9 to 5 and it's almost impossible for them to get, and then they have family after 5 o'clock. And then on weekends, they spend time with their family. It's hard to get into the shop or get onto a model, and other times, you, like with us also, Jason, we've been working on projects that we get to a point where it's like, oh crap, we need this part or this part or this part, and it stalls the progress of that.
Yeah, that's another thing I wanted to talk about too as we get a little further into the conversation, because there's so many small nuances, right? Especially again lately, not to be repetitive with some of the personal stuff that has come up. And again, I just had a conversation with John a few days back, specifically about commissions and kind of being burnt out. But yeah, there's that chase too, where not the fun or the hunt, but needing that piece for completion, which can be sometimes exhilarating and fun, right? But then it can also sometimes, as you're doing it over and over and over again, especially for a commission, can get exhausting because you have somebody kind of knocking down your door. Hey, is it done yet? Hey, is it done yet? And you're working on it, but you're waiting for piece A to come in from Japan. You're waiting for piece B to come in from, so and so from one of the groups that's doing a swap or a trade.
Or somebody's casting something for you, and they have their own life that gets in the way of them being able to do these things. And they're doing you a favor, so you can't be like, hey, where's my piece?
You don't want to be on them.
No, you don't want to be on them. They're doing you a favor. So, in your mind, you're like, oh, I want to get to this. I want to get to this. I want to get to this. But, their life, just like yours, takes precedence over, hey, I'm going to send you this piece, right? So there's a whole lot of different things. And there's also, like people have, even people, like we know some people who mentally have a hard time bringing themselves, because of either they're suffering from depression, or they have stress in their life, or physical ailments, or like for me right now, I'm going to be honest, I've been a mess because I lost my dog, who was very dear to me, and it hit me hard, and it's kept me from doing what I want to do. And you would think, you know, hey, I want to put my mind to this and get my mind off of your stress or whatever your case may be. But sometimes you can't get yourself off that couch, you know, and there's a lot of people who suffer from depression, you know, who are amazing builders, but they're not able to get themselves to do it. I have been forcing myself to get into my shop because I want to keep going. But even there's some days where I just don't feel like getting in. I just feel like sitting on a couch, watching a TV, or, you know, just looking at my phone, you know. And I'm getting better. I'm starting to get back into the swing of things, you know, but it's a very real thing when your mind is in one place, and, you know, it keeps you from doing things that you have to have, you have a extreme passion for, you know. The I don't know, the last month, the shows, I don't know why we haven't done shows. I mean, I can tell you why. For the last 2 weeks, just a lot of things have been going on in my life, you know, but prior to that, I don't know why I haven't really done shows. You know, we haven't done these Shootin' Ship shows. And we talk about it all the time. Well, what do we get this guest, or how about we get this guest, or let's finish the Return of the Jedi Chronicles that we have to do yet, you know. But for just some reason, either life gets in the way, or hell, it's 10:30 at night and you worked all day and you're just exhausted and you just don't feel like going, you know. And, you know, and also we have friends overseas that we like to do shows with as well, like Marvin, you know, and John. They have different time zones than we do, you know,
and lifestyles and work and families. Yeah,
it's a lot of different reasons why there's a lot of people who start a lot of projects and don't finish them, or always, I see all the time on comments are like, oh, it's been 2 years since I've been able to work on that, just haven't had time in my life, and there's so many reasons.
See, I'm going to interject for a second. That was something as a collector that I used to find very frustrating.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I used to think to myself, look, I get it. Life happens. But there was always that but. But that's the collector mentality. Now, when you take real world situations, such as a health issue, a passing, you know, a loss of a job, you know, a act of God, any number of things that could have happened to an individual.
You've been dealing with flooding and roads falling apart,
and that has been, yeah, that has, I mean, also some health issues without getting too personal, but the flooding, to be honest, has been, I can't believe how detrimental. And to be honest, you know, I'll be pretty transparent. We took a very small hit, and I still can't believe the amount of damage that we sustained. And on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being like the least, 10 being the worst, we probably took it at like a 2 or 3. So we were on the lower end. So I can imagine, you know, the people that were completely underwater. And I'm still, as you know, as of yesterday, they're still replacing parts, water heated tank, toilet, you know, bathroom, just, you know, it's cars, it's just so many different things. But
your pretty soft hands got calloused.
My soft hands got, yes, they did.
I was joking with you and saying, are you sure you want to do this? Because your soft, callous hands can't handle this. And then at the end of the night, you're like, oh my God, my hands are killing me.
I tell you, man, I was feeling it. But it gives you, it two things I've experienced this past, I'd say, 5 or 6 weeks is I have a newfound appreciation for when things take place, right? When things come up, I appreciate a little bit more because I can understand. And before I never could. Not to say that life didn't have its ups and downs. You know, we're human. Everybody has their bumps in the roads. But there was always that collector mentality. Come on, like, follow through. Don't take forever. But then I was like, okay, well, I'm dealing with something that's, I mean, I can't even go to the bathroom or wash myself. You know, this stuff's going on the back, you know, the back of the bench for a week or two. Like there's nothing, you know, no packages are being delivered, no packages being picked up. Like there's nothing that can be done. There's that part. Then the health stuff and whatnot. And
Jason,
yeah,
one more thing, like your loved ones also get in the way of this.
yes,
That's kind of saying it the wrong way. Let's like I'll have a whole week planned out. Okay, I'll like I have 3 days usually or more sometimes to work in my garage. I'm like, okay, this day I'm gonna do this day I'm gonna do that. And then my kid broke his ankle. So for 2 days, I'm at hospital, I'm at surgery the next day. Okay. And then, like the dog, that was another thing. And that whole week I did nothing. Okay. And like there's nights where I intend to do a show. Okay. And my wife comes home and she's had a wretchedly hard day. Can I just leave her upstairs the way she is and come down and do a show or go in my garage? No, I can't do that. I got to be there for her and for my kids as well. So there's just so many reasons why it's hard to get into the shop,
what I wanted to say, Chris, especially following with what you just said, right? Bringing up how your son had broke his, because we were actually planning on doing a show.
Yeah.
That exact day, and you said, "Hey man," I said, "I'm gonna shoot the thumbnail over. What time you thinking? 9 or 10?" You said, "Hey, I'm gonna scrap it. I'm at the hospital now as we speak." You sent me the X-ray. I was, "Oh man, all right, that takes precedence."
Yeah.
But one thing is, as much as I'm finding an appreciation for it, another thing I'm finding frustrating is that I don't, it's one thing if I'm talking to you or Marvin or John, right? It's another thing if I'm going to somebody, and transparency is always good, and I get that and I can respect it, but you don't want to be that guy that's like, hey, I know I'm supposed to ship your thing this week and I'm supposed to be finishing it up, but you know what? I haven't worked on it for the past week because, this happened, that happened, and the other thing happened. Because
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like when that's done to me. And it's not necessarily a comfortable thing to have to do it to somebody else. And, and I get it and I understand it, but it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, you're right. You don't realize, or even, it could just be something simple as like getting on and chatting, getting on and doing a show, getting on and following up
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
like, hey, we'll do this part 3 or this discussion on this day. And then 3 weeks goes by and this is the first show, in a month.
Yeah. I mean, how many
Yeah,
times do we plan on it? And I'm like, Jason, let's do it tonight. We're going to definitely do it tonight. And then by the end of the night, you asked me and I'm like, I can't, like I have every
and for
intention to
valid
jump
reasons
on.
too.
Lot of valid reasons. And then there's been some where I'm just like, dude, I'm exhausted. I
Yeah.
can't do it tonight. Like or I have to get up at 3 a.m. to go to a 3-hour drive to New York City. It's just I'm not going to be online till 2 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? There's just and there's other things as well, like those 2 sand crawlers I just made. Right? This is the 4th sand crawler I made. I know how to do those in and out of my sleep. Okay. And at one point I told the 2 people, Steve and Kevin, I said, I'll have this done in 2 weeks. No. I, I ran into a major paint problem and I could not get the paint color to go the way I wanted it to go. And I painted those suckers 4 freaking times each one 4 times. So a total of 8. Okay. Painted, base coated, then, okay. No, let's take a step back. Prime it, paint it white, and then paint it the roof brown just to find out that the color didn't go the way I wanted it to go. 4 times each. Okay. By the 4th time, I'm ready to kill somebody. Okay.
Ready to pull your hair out.
I'm ready to throw these out the window. Okay. We're talking now a month. I've been, trying to get these paint colors right. And, I was in there every day I could pot. This was before what happened with my dog passing. Thank God they got those out, because if that had happened before, after that, they wouldn't still be out, so it's a whole lot of different reasons why I keep saying Mojo because John always says that to me. He's like, you help me get my mojo back. You got to help me get my mojo back. You help me get my mojo. You know, it's that's where it's all coming from. That's where Mojo's coming from. But so I wanted, like, I love doing these shows. I love talking to people. I love, putting these ideas out and talking about studio scale modeling. And I love fleshing out all this stuff. And, we only see the surface, but there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that people don't know about. And I think this is a show to kind of help people see that we have the same issues as everybody else. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, I literally, was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. What are we at today? What's today? I'm
today is Sunday.
Today's Sunday. Today was Monday.
The only reason I know that is because tomorrow night I'm leaving for a week to go to Aruba, and I'm very excited to go.
I'm sure that's much needed too. It was Friday, so Friday we realized, as we kept seeing more and more damage after all that flooding and it raining for 2 months straight, we had to take out the old water heater and put a brand new one in. That got crust, got contaminated, blew out, whatever. And I literally had somebody calling me as I was, crossing the T's and dotting the I's and finalizing getting this. I didn't put this thing in, but I was there helping and overseeing as they were finishing up. And the person's like, hey, I know we were expecting this, and how are things turning out? And I'm like, look, I was like, I'm not just trying to sound rude. I'm just being direct. But like right now, you're fifth on the list because me being able to wash and use the bathroom is more important than having hot running water. And it sounds silly, right? But it's just one of those things where, yeah, it takes precedence, but it sometimes kind of takes the fun out of it because you get kind of overwhelmed. And one of the things, and we had said this in private chat, one of the things that I had mentioned, and this is the small discussion I was having with John when I had said, being tapped out, without getting into detail, I've been working on a lot of projects, for not commissions, private commissions, but projects for, things that are being released and things that are coming out, and juggling those has been, it's definitely been stressful and strenuous. And I hate to say that any one person or project is more important than the next. I like to try my best to treat them all equal. But when you have one project that's, a run of 100 pieces and people are paying thousands of dollars for it, and that has a timeline in which it's being released and shipped out, that has to take precedence over, an $1,800 commission, so to speak. And it's just one of those things where juggling some of those, I felt I got a little mentally tapped out where I was like, okay, this is kind of sucking the fun out of it for me because it's becoming all business for a little bit, and having it be a lot of, business and no play. I was losing both the emotional component, which is that passion and that drive, like just wanting to make and build something just for the sake of it because like I have to, I need to. And then the mental aspect of it, the thought of it, rather than being like, oh, I want to try this, or I want to test this out, or I want to throw this together. It was more of like, it almost exhausted me thinking about it. And I never reached that point before.
I personally will not take on too many commissions because I don't want to feel overwhelmed. I had the 2 Sandcrawlers and I have a Millennium Falcon that I'm going to be doing. And once I get those done, then I will take on more because I will not bog myself down. I will not get too many things going in the works because I don't want to feel like I have to get this done quickly to move on to the next one, And then also on top of that, I won't ever get to my stuff. And that's what I'm in this for. I'm in this to not to sound selfish, but I want to put stuff in my collection too. Like that was the main reason why I even started building models, was to put these things in my collection. And if I take on too many commissions, then that's severely getting in the way of me finishing the Sandcrawler or working on a Slave One, or whatever the case may be. And I don't want to get to that point, nor do I want to feel like I'm letting somebody down and not having something finished for them, and that is, but I still do have to do some commissions to keep getting the things that I want to do, And the other thing I wanted to also talk about, Jason, was, we actually know a couple people who have, depression, who are amazing builders, who should be building it all the time. And it's and their own mental, not problems, but like, you know what I mean? Like their issues are keeping them from getting involved in doing these things. And then you see, like, they start building again, and it's like, holy shit, these people are amazing builders. They do such amazing things, and why can't they keep doing this all the time? And like I said, like, those depression issues can also keep sometimes the most creative and wondrous builders do tend to have some depression issues or anxiety issues or something like that, and I know myself that I've tried really hard to encourage some of these people that I know that are incredible builders, incredible creative people, to get back to it and doing what they love, and to see what comes out of their hands and their brains. It's just another thing that happens in this community. It's just people have that problem as well, getting into the workshop. I don't know. These are just some things that, you asked me the other day if I had a topic I wanted to talk about, and I was like, nah, I don't really have a topic I want to talk about. And we were debating talking about, like, because we had in the old days, or the RPF days, there was a lot of communication between builders and a lot of swapping of parts and making things for other people and just doing things for other people. I think that's slowed down a whole lot. We actually tried to start up a Facebook group to try to get that to start again, but that never took off the ground for some reason. And selfishly, it was also to help us to, like me, I don't want to spend hundreds of dollars on kits when I need just one little piece like this big, which actually is a good segue to something that I want to show. Okay. If you don't mind, we can go in this direction a little bit, right? Let me find it while are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Just, if you want to just elaborate on that concept a little bit while I find this pictures I wanted to show.
What was elaborate on?
The swap thing.
Yeah, so as Chris was saying, they gets to a point where, whether you're working on a project or a commission or a build for something that's being released, some of the things that come up is you might need one little piece, and most people who are into models know this. You need that one little piece, and even if it's a $50 kit, it's still the wait time, the 1 to 3 weeks wait time, or the kit may be $200-300. It doesn't matter, because you're looking at so many pieces and working with so many pieces that, eventually every $20, $30, $40 kit that you're pulling 1 or 2 pieces from tends to add up. I mean, perfect example, you pulled something up the other day with the B-Wing, and I said, this is a piece, a kit that I had to buy for literally 2 tiny little pieces, and that's all that was used out of it. And that's why you don't see it on most kits. And it's just one of those things where we decided, okay, this is getting to a point where financially and time-wise, and I think the time-wise is more frustrating because the waits or most of the stuff coming out of Japan or trying to search for it and even find it if you can, that was becoming, frustrating. We decided, okay, well, what if we had a swap shop or, swap meet, so to speak, but only online, right? And we put something together, and people who are into modeling and want to participate are welcome. But we decided to put something together where, like, if you just need that one piece, instead of throwing $100 down and waiting 3 weeks for that to come in, because when you're waiting for a piece, it doesn't even have to be a commission. It could be a private build, something you're working on. When you're in the zone and you're in that zone and you're killing it, there's nothing worse than something halting you. And pumping the brakes because you're like, oh, I'm waiting on this piece and this piece and this piece to come in. And dude, how often? I mean, we all mule for each other. How often are you grabbing this kit for John? I'm printing up the label. This is going to the UK. This piece is coming from Australia. It's crazy, right?
Yep.
And that's how we have to do it to make it go quickly. And we decided, look, wouldn't it be easier if somebody already had this stuff in hand and you just need that one piece and somebody can just ship it over and you can have it in 2 days instead of 3 weeks?
So I was able to acquire a few things. And it was nice because it saved me a couple $100, and I'm willing to send parts out to other people as well. But this, like, I want to point out this piece here specifically. Okay, right in the center there is this piece right here. Okay. This is from a kit not real well known. I'd never heard of the brand. I'd never heard of this brand at all. And this one piece is the only piece on the Sandcrawler that is from this kit. Now, this kit this piece is probably, I'm going to say, a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch, maybe more, and this kit regularly is hard to find is a little hard to find. It's on eBay, but it's like $300. I don't want to spend $300 for that one little tiny piece. Okay, that's just stupid. Okay, it's just really dumb. And so far, I've been able to do my whole Sandcrawler without casting resin parts, which I really want to stick to as much as I possibly can. But I thought I was going to have to break my rule on this one. But then I got lucky. I had a search for it on eBay, and a guy put up a kit, a bunch of, just a listing. It wasn't the whole kit. It was just pieces from that company. Okay. That actual model kit company. And right there is that freaking piece. Okay. That's the only one that I need from that kit, and $30. I was like, all day. I actually put in a bid of $100 just to make sure nobody outbid me, because even if I spent $100, that's still spending a lot less than $300. You know what I mean? So that was kind of what we were talking about doing with this swap shop Facebook group. And, maybe it'll keep going. Who knows? We'll see. But that's just like one resource you have to find parts that you're looking for, and they're really expensive. It takes a little patience to wait for it to show up, right? And sometimes you can actually buy like the whole, like one sprue out of a kit for like $20 compared to buying $100 the whole kit that you don't need. This is another thing that I have recently started. What's the word? Getting into my brain to do, because normally I was like, all right, I'll just buy the kit. I might need the part some other time, another part some other time, or then I started buying 12 Panther G kits, and I'm like, screw this. I'm not buying 3 more Panther G kits to get, the parts I need. So I started looking in this direction, and I've been able to find a lot of parts that I need just by buying the sprue or a piece like this, So yeah, that's I don't know how we got started on that. We jumped from one subject to a completely different subject.
I mean, it's a little bit of a segue there. It made sense. Yeah, I mean, we were definitely talking about something a little bit more deeper, but I still think it's an important part of, so like again, going back to like you said, whether it's somebody's taking on too many commissions. I mean, I'm the same way. Sometimes people ask like, "Hey, how come you don't do commissions?" And at any given time, I maybe do one or two random ones here and there because I spend a lot more time working on other projects, and it's because of that those projects have to take precedence. But even then, there's so many cooks in the kitchen that there's things that are beyond your control, right?
Yeah.
There's things that even when everything's going as smooth as possibly could be, it doesn't mean that, hey, this is going to be done Tuesday. It may be Thursday. It may be Monday. And it ties back to even this, the idea of bringing this together. I was working on a bust for somebody, and there was literally, I think 11 different people involved. This person's doing the chest plate. This person's doing the LCDs. This person's doing the cape. This person's doing that piece. And it's like, you don't realize how time consuming that is. And you're waiting for the next run or you're waiting for this. But when it comes down to models, at least we have a little bit more control because the community is a little bit tighter, a little bit smaller, and you don't have so much going on at once. You do and you don't. You do, but it's not as widespread as like somebody, like an R2 builders forum or people trying to build Vaders, like, that stuff you're waiting for forever. The modeling stuff, I feel like you have a little bit more control, a little bit more direction. But
so Carter C is asking, I don't often find these when searching on eBay or using specific keywords. I'm terrible at that. I'm terrible at finding things on the internet, and Jason reminds me of that all the time. I'll just put the very basic, okay, like Panther G, okay, and I might get 100 things that are, especially Panther G's. For some reason, I get like these Power Ranger looking toys. I don't know why, but like every time I look, it's usually this Power Ranger stupid looking thing from Japan. But then you could also say sprue, and you'll get some people open up boxes and they'll sell the sprues of like a Ferrari 312T or something like that. And then also sometimes when you do a search for it, you'll find like the first 5 will be pretty much exactly what you're looking for. But then if you pass, it says, then it says in less words or something like that. Below that, you'll go down further. And the more you go down, look, you'll find sprues. That's for some reason, the sprues are hidden down farther a little bit sometimes. And then sometimes it's a matter of patience. Sometimes there's a lot of eBay sellers that sell sprues, and it might be something you don't have any interest in, but then every now and then pops like this. I was like, when this popped up, I was like, holy shit, it's exactly what I need. And I jumped all over it, and just keep looking, look further than just your automatic search, and do a safe search so that anything that comes up Panther G, it'll pop up. And I'll be honest to say, like, I have those safe searches, okay, like again, say Panther G, but or other kits, and it's never come up the sprue. For some reason, it's always just the kit. Okay. But then I'll look further down the line and I'll find sprues of the kit that I'm looking for. I don't know if that helps you out. Before
one thing too, Chris, without complicating it and getting into the details, I'll just give a blanketed statement. So when there's been times where you've had a hard time finding something, or I've been looking for something, one thing you can do is you can go to Google and it'll give you a list of ways to put in searches. Okay. And I know it gives the button like, oh, do you want to search exactly these words, like these words? But you could actually eliminate certain statements, make it very specific, because there could be something on page 32. Most people don't go past the second or third page when they're searching a search engine. So it could be something that's 50 pages deep, but if you use a certain string or combination of letters and terms, it'll usually hit pretty quickly. I've gotten really good at finding kits that other times, we can't find this, and looking for that, and like, boom, here it is. Here's, not always, but definitely some decent results. But rather than getting into what they are, and you can go to Google and basically, I think, just type in, ways of using more specific searches or using the search engine more specifically, and these will help you narrow down. And sometimes it might bring you to overseas sites, and you can always double check and make sure they're legitimate. Remember the Panther G's, right? I was able to get a whole handful of those kits by doing a specific search like that.
You found a lot of kits for me for that by
doing it that way.
Like that.
Yeah, being more specific, and it just comes to like honing different skills. And even with the RPF, one of the biggest complaints me and Chris used to have when we first started out was like, man, there was so much great information, and you go to page 2 or you go to look for this image and it's gone. And there's actually tools out there. They're not all going to be 100% of the time, but you have things like Servio and Wayback Machine and whatever it may be, and a lot of these do crawl on these sites.
Yeah, you've told me about those, Jason. But when I look up, like the other day, I was looking. What was it? I was looking up a specific ship, and I was looking for map ID, pictures, and I always look up RPF, and then I'll look for like the ship, and then either map ID or just leave it at the ship, and it'll come up, a whole bunch of different threads, somebody's building this, or somebody's building this, or somebody's asking a question about this, and then you go on to those pages, and it's a graveyard of no pictures, right? Even just the Google search, you click on the images. Sometimes those old pictures show up in those when you click images.
They're stored in a data folder.
Yeah. And I've been able to find some old, not many, but some old pictures that that have been deleted by whoever for whatever reason. The RPF annoys me because of all the stupid shit that happened and people taking their pictures down and throwing temper tantrums. I hate that. That just annoys the hell out of me. But I want to get to what Marvin said, back to our other topic before we go any further. It can be a chore for me. I think maybe that is also because I want to do it right. So it's not all pleasure. There's definitely pressure too.
Yes.
That is also
OCD and perfectionism can drive some people crazy.
Yes. It's hard to get to a point where it's like, okay, that's good enough. Yeah,
because there's always the coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Yeah.
What could I have done different? What could I have done better?
What always happens for me is, I'll be stressing about it, and I'll stress about it, and then I'll be like, all right, have it right, and I do it, and then right after I do it, I'm like, I figure out that I did it wrong, and I think I'm doing it right, and then all of a sudden, as soon as I do it, right after, I realize I did it wrong, and I'm like, God damn it! 10 seconds ago, if I had just done this, it would have been right, and then I take it apart and refix it, because it'll bother me if I don't fix it. But like these sand crawlers, right? Hold on, I'm gonna put a picture up of them. Kind of just like also sharing things that I have been working on. So, it's always nice to just talk about things in our shop. There's a point where you're just like, okay, they're done. They're good. I could do this, but you know what? I got to stop touching it. I have to just let it go. It's good enough, and that's a hard thing to do sometimes. When do you stop making it better? Like there's some things I would have liked to have done more on here, but I'm like, I've got to get to a point where I'm happy. And you know what? These things that I want to do to it probably won't even get noticed. So, okay, just send them out. You know what I mean? It's like, that's a hard thing to do sometimes, especially with somebody who has, right. Especially somebody who has a really bad OCD problem, like, okay, that's not right. I got to get that right. That's not right. I got to get this perfectly right. And that's kind of what Marvin is saying. For him, it's got to be perfectly done. And I'm sure a lot of projects got started and never finished because, either they don't know the kit part or they don't feel like they did it right, or, you know what I mean?
Well, Chris, this also goes back to the conversation we had after having some guests on, right? Because again, going back to the original trilogy and even to today, this stuff has to get designed, built, and on screen. You don't have the time of being like,
No.
let me touch this up, let me fix this weathering, let me make this a little better, a little cleaner. No, you got to get it done. And
Right.
when you're working on things, even for yourself, whether it's a commission or a personal project, I mean, remember when we first started, I used to say to you, I'm like, I'm having a really hard time. What is it?
Yeah.
I'm spending all this time making every little last surface perfect and taking this up. And I was driving myself crazy. And in all actuality, it was working against me because that isn't necessarily the way it's supposed to look. And then I finally got comfortable enough and pulled back enough where I was able to realize, okay, it's going to be to my benefit to let it have a little bit of asymmetry and sloppiness to it. But
I even said to you, it was like, you kept sanding surfaces and you weren't, my wife's calling me. Why is she calling? You weren't progressing to the next level because you wanted to get that surface perfectly right. And I'm like, Jason, spray it with some primer, and you'll see that those no, not that, but you'll see that you've already gotten it to the point where it needs to be, and you don't need to go any further. Can you go on that while I answer this? She don't usually call me when I'm on my phone.
Yeah. So as Chris was saying, there are times where, and I think through some conversations with Marvin, I think Marvin not has the same issue, but something similar where being a perfectionist, Marvin likes to take his time. I think Marvin's in the chat with us tonight. And Marvin tends to be a bit methodical and lay things out and do things, as precise as possible. And even if it's mimicking, the asymmetry or the damage or, the sloppiness to it, there's still a stylistic approach to that. And yes, sometimes, I think both builders, creatives, and adding to that, collectors are very OCD. I mean, how many of us have bought a statue that has a little break or a nick, and we know it's as simple as just a drop of glue, but it's the idea that even though you can't see it anymore, it's there. So it just kind of eats away at your brain. But
trying to get that perfect is also a detriment.
But I was talking about the OCD aspect of, like, whether you're a builder, whether you're a collector. Like, let's say a statue comes in with a little nick in it. It's as simple as a drop of glue, and nobody's going to be the wiser. But it's there. So it's that water drop, like that torch that just goes through your brain. It just drives you crazy. This Carter, this is I'm glad you pulled that up, Chris. This has always been this is something we started off right off the bat. The sprue thing I started doing just because I was sick of buying kits. It was just cheaper and quicker to buy the sprues. I think you were a little apprehensive at first because of the shipping, and some of the sprues can be expensive to ship when you're like, hey, I could buy a whole kit for this much.
Yeah, a lot of them I found were in overseas, and it was like $30 to ship one sprue, and I'm like, oh,
you could buy the kit for that much. But this, I can't tell you how many times we've bought in pieces, tanks, whatever it may be, planes, and just rip them apart. They're fully, and some of them like aren't even scratch and dent or beat up. Some of them are beautifully built. I bought one point I bought the Tyrrell F1 Ford. Guy did a gorgeous job. It looked like something you could put in a display case, and I just trashed the thing because I needed a couple things off of it.
I feel bad about doing that.
It's hard.
I've only a couple times bought a full kit that was already built. I did it once with a C-Lab, and it came apart really easy for me. But then after that, I bought a couple other kits, and they didn't come apart very easily. And I'm sometimes a little impatient, where I force it and I end up breaking it. So I've really gotten away from buying models that are all put together, just because I know I'm going to end up breaking them for some reason. But yeah, just I once found a Ferrari 312T. Do you remember this, Jason? The guy didn't think he had the whole kit, right? Because there was a couple sprues that were missing parts. So if you do your due diligence and look at it and really look at the pictures, okay, and figure out, all right, well, this part's there, that part's there, this is all here. You could find a kit that somebody thinks, and there's a lot of people selling on eBay kits that they don't think are complete when they actually are. I found a 312T, or was it a B? I don't remember, one or the other. Turns out it was almost two full kits, and the guy didn't.
Two in there. Yeah,
there was two in there, and I got two for the price of, well, a really cheap price for one, because he didn't think he had the whole kit. I was like, score, that was a big score for me. What is Mark? The perfect is the enemy of the good. That is true.
very true. I'm telling you, we gotta start selling stickers and t-shirts.
Yeah,
that's a great one.
Yeah, that's a good one, Marvin.
We should have that one. We should have Hide Your Crimes with the Paint and Ow My Finger.
Ow My Finger.
Well, I think you're just slicing it or gluing it to something.
Oh yeah, I glue my fingers daily.
Or finger with no fingerprint on it.
Dude, I don't want to say this, but it's too funny not to. I'm sure every single one of my commissions has at least
DNA in it.
Oh, it has definitely some pieces of my skin on them. I know that for sure. I'll probably never sell another. Nobody will ever buy another commission from me for that reason, but it's true. I swear to God, it's true. But yeah, Marvin, we're gonna have to do a show earlier in the day. We can get the old dream team on and get everybody on again, because we had so much fun doing those. I promise we will get more consistent with doing more shows, more shooting ships, and model builds, and having better more guests on. We have people lined up. It's just coordinating that along with our schedules has been a little difficult lately. But I definitely need this more in my life, so and in this modeling community, I remember Matt for years would just be like, I don't want nothing to do with it, but in all honesty, I found some of the best friends that I've had in my life from this community, and people that I've gotten to know. And honestly, when we were in Europe, that was the best time of my life. I admitted, I actually told my wife about that. It was the best time ever in my entire life. And I thought she would be like, what do you mean? What about when we spent time together? But I just was like, doesn't matter. I honestly had the best time ever in Europe. So Oktoberfest next year. Right?
Yeah.
Marvin. Yeah. We're going to try to make that happen. So, yeah, those were the things I really wanted to talk about to begin with. Is there anything you want to talk about, Jason?
I think we'll wait for the next show. I finally, after almost a year's worth of work, finished up two big things and finishing up something else that some people know. Well, not some. A lot of people already know about, but think it's something that might have just came to light in the last 6 or so months, not realizing it. It's been in the works for a year and a half, 2 years. But I would like to start talking about some of those things and getting into, like how we were going to do like that, the AT-AT and stuff, just getting into some of those things and talking a little bit more openly about things that are now coming to light or getting released.
That?
Or I was just using that as an example because other things I can't say just yet. But
Oh, the
like
Merlin stuff.
those topics, yeah, stuff like that, where it kind of
Well,
coincides with model making, but it's a little, it is and it isn't the same.
we
But
can talk about this a little bit.
yeah, talk about this a little bit.
Yeah, because you had a big hand in this. I'm going to let you. I don't really know exactly what you've done in this regard. So I will let you describe it a little bit. This is the Merlin model McCory X-Wing that Merlin had sent to me to build and paint. I've done a video. I have to edit it. And I'm just finishing it up right now. I got the lights in. I'll probably do the video with it lit up, but they also sent me an Arduino board to program so that the engine lights in the back fire up and do stuff. But I kind of want to get the video out there because it's taking me longer than I wanted it to.
How are you doing with the Arduino board?
I didn't play with it at all yet. I have to. Justin said he was going to tell me how to program it. I don't know anything about them yet. So, and I'm planning on using them on other things. So I'm gonna.
Yeah, because I get the other one that I did for one of your other projects.
Oh yeah, okay, but
yeah.
I can't stress enough how great in detail this kit is. I don't think people realize what is coming when these things actually come out. I mean,
so let's get into that too. We'll kill two birds with one stone. So something was brought up the other day, not publicly, but it was brought up, and I think it's something to touch on, right? Where someone said, "Hey, Merlin's got a lot of great offerings," and then there was a but, it's been a long time since something has been released, since the four-legged AT-AT. And I'm saying this openly and not biasly, and I'm being genuine here, and I think Chris should get back me on this. So the four-legged AT-AT, one, they had such a response to it that they went into an additional run, and they had to fulfill that, okay? Now, in the meantime, what Merlin has been doing, and this isn't an excuse, this is a genuine answer. What Merlin has been doing is each individual, whether you want to call it a ship or let's just, for the sake of it, let's just say vehicle. I don't want to say studio scale. I want to get into the whatever vehicle that they're working on. They seek out the right people who have enough knowledge on that particular vehicle, or more than enough knowledge on that particular vehicle, or maybe it could be multiple people. And basically they go through and through and go over every aspect of this thing inside and out, and try to get it as accurate as it could possibly be. Now, I'm not talking 70% accurate or 72% accurate. I'm talking like 99.99% accurate. I myself had a hand in a few of them. One being completely top to bottom from scratch, and there's stuff on there that you won't see on any other kit anywhere, just because we went that extra mile. And Ethan and Justin are so receptive and so open to criticism and feedback, and vice versa, and they're willing to give it as well. They're open when they say, hey, what's this? Like, should we do this? Should we add this? Should we change this? Is this what this is supposed to be? And having that rapport and that relationship where you can add things and take things away and get it right and say, well, hey, I know you pointed this out, but it looks more like this. Is this correct? And then, you take another couple extra weeks figuring out if that is or isn't correct, going through those parts, getting those pieces, etc. Now, they're not doing that with just one thing. They're doing that with multiple vehicles across the board. And you have everything from the Slave One down to NATSD, two-legged walker. And a lot of time, effort, and energy has been devoted to that. And then it goes through the process of producing the master, which is this McCory X-Wing hair. The cockpit was purposely done clear for lighting purposes. And one of the masters came back and was like, hey, we get this extra. How do you feel about painting it up and, get a feel for what this is going to look like and be like? But these things are in the process. And I don't want to share information or put things out there, but I can say that the things that they are producing, they have reached out to people that they're definitely the right people. And, Chris, you know this. That Slave One was done by, someone who knows the Slave One inside and out, as well as a handful of other people that, no, I don't want to say a handful, but a couple of other people who participated in just kind of crossing those T's and dotting those I's, just kind of helping out when and where people get busy or sort of taking on other things. And and then there's two other pieces that haven't yet. I don't know if they've gone up for pre-order, but two of them that were again built completely from scratch with down to every minute detail. And Chris is right. I think everybody was elated when they saw the four-legged walker. And I mean no disrespect, but compared to what they're doing now, that was technically their first piece. So that was their sort of like training wheel piece, if you will, right?
That was all that was in the bottle.
Thank you.
So that was their training wheel piece, if you will, where they were figuring things out, learning the process, learning how to package these things, break these things down, turn them into models. So now that they've sort of refined that process, they've just gotten better and better. Now, without getting into too much detail about how the McQuarrie was, with the inception of the McQuarrie came to be, basically, what it came down to was, taking an X-Wing, getting the proper size of 1/24 scale, and there's not many drawings or sketches out there. There's about 5 that there was access to. And using those 5 images and drawings, it was like just getting down to adding all of the detail that you could add to make it a true McQuarrie piece. And then moving further, the talent that Ethan and Justin are is they went in and, between the cockpit and the droid, which are the 2 images that Chris is showing now. I mean, this droid this isn't a huge pice.
No, so, this is probably 1.5 inches by 1 inch high.
So that gives you an idea or some perspective on the detail when you're looking at the dome, and none of it's choppy or shabby or and I get it, right? There's always that Star Wars models should look sloppy, and in some cases yes, but this is concept art, so there's some liberties here, and I like the idea that McQuarrie drew a lot of his stuff clean, so they went in and added detail that the naked eye probably isn't really going to be able to see once it's on display, but they still did it. And I think
Jason, so to give you an example of the detail that didn't need to be added but was added, where I'm drawing my hand across this droid, okay, all of this below the hand, the marker there, you don't even see. It's in the droid slot.
It's in the cockpit, correct? Or the droid's holder.
It's there, but you don't see it. I did all this work here and I dropped it in, and I'm like, shit, I don't even see that. Like on the back, I did this this little triangle and the slots here, and you see all this, but from here down, nope, you don't see it. But it's there, the detail that didn't need to be. Like even down in here, there's little buttons that are you'll never see, but it's there.
And that was some of the things that were discussed, right? So in designing this, it was, do you go that extra mile? Do you go ahead and add in these details, like the underbelly and the back part, for example, were 2 things where there were some images, and it's like, okay, does anybody see these? Does anybody even know this exists? Are they going to think it's made up? Are they going to think this was just some willy-nilly idea to make it look cool or to just fill in space? Like, no, these exist in drawings and sketches. There are very few that are out there, and they were added. There's been some older kits out there. Back in 2011, EFX had one on display. There was the Richard Long, the Frank Cerny. Those used decals. They were quite undersized. They were smaller kits, beautiful kits. And you can do a quick Google search or look on the RPF and see some beautiful builds of those. And they're gorgeous, but this is just one step above. And then some of the decisions that were made to say, hey, metal barrels, the the ability to light up the cockpit with such minute detail and different lights,
Jason,
being able to feed
these
things through different areas of the.
uh, Jason, are you there? God damn it. Damn freaking- Jason.
Yeah, StreamYard kicked me again. That's weird.
Yeah, they kicked me as well.
It gave me like a. Did you get the little notification? Like knock me off?
No, it was you went silent, and I thought it was my internet, but it
No,
just
it's StreamYard.
it's StreamYard. I'll tell you
Yeah,
what, we need to switch. StreamYard sucks so bad.
yeah, it's getting frustrating. But as I was saying, without rumbling on too much, but yeah, so a lot of thought was put into all the finer details of
Well,
this piece.
look at these legs in this seat.
Hmm.
This you do not see this. This is not seen at all. It's deep in the cockpit, but the legs are detailed. The boots are detailed. All of this is all very highly detailed for nothing. You don't see it in the cockpit at all. Once you slide this in there, you won't see his feet, is the seat, or anything.
And the head of the pilot is based directly off of um, the the concept sketches, as
Yeah.
is the droid. And it's actually, I don't know if you can see my avatar, it's kind of tiny. At least on my computer it is. But that's basically what you're looking at. That's why I put that up tonight, because this is one of the references that was used to get the detail of the pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that just goes to show. And again, even the pilot, yeah, you'll see him peeking through, but when he's on display and the cockpit's on, you're
Nah,
not.
you won't see it. You barely
But
see it.
the time and effort was put in and done, and that really blew me away when I saw that extra mile given to say, hey, if this detail is going to be, if this detail's presented, then we're going to implement it. Because
No,
then it's sky's the limit.
I'm really happy with it. I'm exceptionally happy. It's behind me, and I really like it. I can't say enough good things about it, and I can't wait to see. I thought somebody told me that they were starting to ship the Corvette, the blockade runner. Is that true?
Yeah, I think so. I thought that too, right? And in the
Yeah,
process, or maybe even
I heard
started.
that. Yeah.
But I do think as we come into first quarter of 2024, I think we're going to start seeing the walkers, both ESP and Return of the Jedi, and I wouldn't be surprised if within a year or less, possibly. Don't quote me on it. The Slave ones may start shipping out in small batches. I mean, I don't know how that's going to work with the packaging, and because keep in mind when these things are designed, right? Just to give a little insight. So we know that there's companies out there that will digitally scan something or go in and just 3D design it. And it's not to say that isn't done here, but these models are built from scratch primarily, right? Except for the concept. Concept is done both in sketching out and 3D design. But let's say a walker, that's done completely from scratch. Donor kits, donor parts, etc. And then got to the point where scratch built, head, scratch built leg, scratch built foot, one completely assembled, one, I guess you would call it dissected, or disassembled. So you have this is what it looks like completed, and this is we can actually physically see, handle, and feel what it looks like dissected and broken down into parts because there's pieces in there, whether they're functional, non-functional, for structural integrity, etc., that once a model is built that you don't necessarily see, they get hidden. and those pieces were exposed so they could then be replicated to be as close to the filming model as it can possibly be. And that takes time, and it takes a lot of effort. And then they have to go in as well, Justin and Ethan as a team, and figure out, now we have to make this into a model that can be built. So now they have to reverse engineer a model that's already been built from scratch and make it, they can't just say, hey, this is how it was built, let's make it the same way. No, they got to make it a little bit more feasible to say this is a model kit, and they got to now engineer it to be a model kit. So yeah, what they're doing and what they're able to do is amazing. But yeah, there's no shortness on quality and detail in any one of these pieces.
Yeah, I'm gonna be putting up a build video. I'm sure we'll be talking more Merlin model. There's a lot of things down in the pipeline that will be coming. So, but I think this is a good spot to end the show for tonight.
Yeah, we're tapping out at midnight. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and I also want to say, because we started this show off with what we were talking about earlier, the very real world stuff. It's so important to have friends in this community. Like, it's just, in all honesty, like, we've pulled each other through a lot of things. I've been there for you. You've been there for me. John's been there for us. Marvin as well. It's just, if you're in a rut, reach out to your friends, man. Like, whether it's, home or stress, or don't just internalize it. Just, reach out to your friends and have them help you to get through this. Like, in all honesty, it takes all of us to build one stinking little model. Like all four of us, we work on this together a lot, and each one of us throws in a lot to make one thing happen. Nobody can do it on their own. You need your friends to help you with that. In all regards, like you say it all the time, it takes a village to build.
Yeah, in the model community, it takes a village, man. It's no different than relationships. It could take 5 years to build one and 5 minutes to ruin one. But when it comes to modeling community, it takes a village. Without the help of everybody else, no one person can stand alone. I mean, technically they can, but it's a lot harder and a lot more work than you think.
Way harder. Hi, Robin. Joining us at the end. We're about to kick off. There'll be more shows to watch coming up soon because we're getting our mojo back. Okay. All right. Anything else, Jason?
No, just a good night to everybody. Thanks for the support. Thanks for joining.
See you later, everybody. Gotta find the outro.